on 95.3 FM in Windhoek, Desert Radio. The Bold Voice.
If you are privy enough to check us on Facebook, you will see who I do have in studio. But for those that do not know, I am joined by Alfie Ndyenge, who's of course a former Brave Warriors footballer and owner of 6more9. Now, the She Cranes of Uganda, if you don't know who they are, they're the national netball team, women's netball team, that is, of Uganda. They secured a 3-year sponsorship deal with one of Africa's fast-growing sports brands and manufacturer, that's 6more9. The brand, of course, is owned by a former Brave Warriors star, that's Alfie Ndyenge, and he does join us in studio this morning just to talk a little bit about this and more. Alfie, how's it?
I'm great, CJ. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, man. Thanks so much for making some time for us and joining us in studio. Now, you asked me what I know about the sponsorship deal just before we went on air, but I think I should ask you that question because look, I think it's a big thing. It's definitely a big deal to have a local brand be connected outside of the country. So, from the onset, I guess just speak to us about what the sponsorship deal entails and how you actually got to pen this deal.
CJ, I mean, it's a big deal in that aspect, but for me, it's just the first step of the many that we have already taken. Mm-hmm. When you look into how we have planned our brand to grow, for me, I always say 6more9 is an international brand in as much as it's owned by a Namibian.
Okay, I love that.
Right? So the Cognizance is an international brand that is owned by a Namibian. Just like we have other international brands that are owned by other citizens.
That's right.
First and foremost, I would also just do because the questions comes, why don't you sponsor Namibia? Why don't you?
That was on my list. You stole it out of my mouth. That's actually a question that many people have been asking. Like, why couldn't you perhaps go for another team, closer to home, if not Namibia, perhaps just within the surroundings. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there are relevant, of course, reasons for that, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, you see, the brand itself has its way of how it wants to move within the space of the sports fraternity. And we look into mass production. Our production is mostly captured by mass production. Mm-hmm. And wherever the masses are, we try to penetrate the market and do our best in providing a tailor-made and just a unique production for whoever we engage with. So talking about sponsoring locally, I mean, if I give you a list of teams we have sponsors, it's endless, and we keep doing that through our ways of giving to the youth. Mm-hmm. Those that don't have regalia, we make sure that we contribute, whether in full price or reduced price. We try to make sure that our brand is also visible. Not only that we want to be penetrating the market because we are offering a lower price, but we want to be competitive as much as we want in terms of quality, in terms of styling, in terms of fabrics, in terms of efficiency. I mean, but the system is different in Namibia, where the dynamics change into when the quantities are submitted for production. So someone wants a tailor-made product, and then you have a minimum quantity requirement, which nobody wants to adhere to. Yeah. You understand? So if I tell you my minimum quantity is 50 items, you would walk away and go and buy a Nike that is in the shop, probably 10 Nike jerseys, and brand them. However, if you come to us and discuss with us that this is the idea and this is what we want to do and this is for a long term, of course, we can look into how we can do partnerships with you. The Uganda deal is straightforward. Like I said, it's business orientated. First of all, we look at the masses and what caught our eye as business as 619 is that Uganda is one of the best countries that are playing netball.
100%.
One of the best in the world, number 6 in the world, number 2 in Africa, and they are number 1 in East Africa region. So they are massive. They have a massive followership. It was just rightful for us to lay a deal with them, and we had to entice them on what we can sponsor them to get whatever we want out of them in return. So brand visibility for us was key, and to jump on the wagon of sponsoring them, to be able to introduce our brand at an international stage like a Commonwealth. Not that I'm saying wouldn't have been to the Commonwealth, but it's just a good platform for us because it's where the best probably go compete. Next to the Olympics, next to their World Cup event, is the Commonwealth. So yeah, that deal was surfaced 12 months ago when they came here for the Pen Series. I saw they won the Pen Series.
Yeah.
And I remember me and my partner would go there every day.
Yeah, I saw you guys. You guys had that stall there outside. Yeah, I remember that.
So within that, we also thought, okay, what if? And we promised that, you know what, you guys, if you win this Pen Series, this is what is on offer for you guys.
Wow. Now, you speak with this deal or about this deal with such, poise and calm, right? But I can promise you, for every other Namibian that read your article and that's hearing this right now, it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. Look, you are taking a local brand and you're actually sponsoring not only a team from another country, it's a whole national team, right? That on its own is a big deal. But speak to us about what this means, not only for 619 in terms of creating another avenue to perhaps go on and partner with other national teams of other countries, but also for just for the industry generally within the country, to say that it is possible to do deals like this and not only keep it limited to sponsoring local teams or sponsoring clubs, that you can make it as big as, national teams and perhaps even corporate organizations within other countries. Just talk to us about what that means for the brands industry within the country and, of course, for 619.
It's massive for 619. It's very big when you look into, like I said, it automatically inflicts the equity of the brand times 3 or times 2 for the fact that you associate with national teams now. From, you see, we have I'm not taking the shine away from this, but a football club like Royal AM is dressed by 619. They had a great season. We are playing in Africa this season. It's also exposure for 619.
Definitely.
So hence the fact I'm a little bit modest about the Uganda deal, to think of it's not really that big, but this is what we have dreamed of. This is what we have aligned as part of our strategic plans, that we want to shoot to the top of Africa, but we have to find ourselves amongst the best and competing in multiple events that are worldwide, nationwide, countrywide, and across Africa. And that is the platforms that we will get from Royal AM, for example, and Uganda. Uganda being a nation, it gives us already the trust. It gives us a fair relation towards whoever wants to come or work with us. That it means we are not here to joke. We are not. Yes, some people will scrutinize our services. Some will applaud us. Some will. I mean, everyone has their opinion about the brand, but we don't want to be seeing ourselves in an arrogant manner to say we are the best. But I can tell you, I can assure you, we can compete with the best. And we are doing that in terms of quality. We are doing that in terms of efficiency. We are doing that in terms of productivity. And styling. We style the way we want, and we style according to what you want to be styled with. Because we don't give you that limitation of, no, we can't produce X, Y, Z. We style you, whether you are just a company that has 10 items and you want to be looking unique, come to us, we'll do it for you.
And I'm also, interested in just to go back to the question that was on everyone's lips with, keeping it within the country. Look, have there been conversations, throughout the years of perhaps sponsoring or just being in partnership with, different national teams of different sports codes within the country? Have those conversations been there, number one? How have they been, number two? And now that obviously, eyes are bigger on you, do you think those conversations will come up even more now?
I mean, ever since we started this brand, we wanted to claim international statuses, either through whether it's an under 15 national team, whether it's an under 17, whether it's a senior national team. It doesn't matter. For us, was about to get that recognition, and just not recognition, to give any national team a sense of belonging. That if I am a Namibian and I have a brand that is vocal and international, why do I skip this brand? And the same questions comes. Hi, why don't you have a factory in Namibia? But the same person asking me that question is wearing a Nike T-shirt, and their wardrobe is full of Nike. They've never asked Nike if they have put up a factory here, but they see Nike as an international brand. So in my space, I have created that to say, in as much as I don't want to put up a production line here, I know my production capacity. Even if I put one here, it will not be sufficient in terms of business viability because of the numbers that we already have. So I produce where I produce from, and I show that it can be done. I deliver on time. I deliver whenever the agreements are set in time. The only thing, yes, I'm fighting the barrier of trust in terms of payments and in terms of adhering to production lead time. In specifically when you tell them that your goods will be here in 3 weeks, and someone wants goods in 5 days. So these are the education I'm enduring, that I have to teach people that there's a queue. If I tell you 3 weeks, you will be queued and you'll be numbered on this. But then it's different from people because there's a designing time. There's all these things need to be taken into consideration.
100%.
But we are beating that. We slowly but surely we're winning trust with a reasonable number of people that understand the production chain. So, I mean, for now, it's bigger than what we expected. This was supposed to be on year 5. We are already on year 3 now, and it has already burst. But we were ready for this. As a CEO of this company, I foresee bigger plans for this. And yes, as I am a Namibian for that matter, I would want to be proud to see each and every national team wearing this brand and proudly owning it, and saying this is our brand and we are taking this brand to the world. So, and not be in a cluster formation of thinking every time they pick a 609 item, they want to compare it to a Nike, to a Adidas, to a Umbro. Or yes, those brands have been in existence for the past 60 years. 609 is only 10 years old or 15 years old in production. However, we have found our space. Like I said, we are maneuvering in that space. We have understood our equity. And our price is definitely maintained into a standard that you can afford it and still get the same quality of your Nike or your Adidas.
Now, a lot has happened in those 15 years, to say the least. Of course, now the recent Uganda deal, the Royal AM deal. I mean, you've been in service as well. Look, you're doing a lot with the brand. What other heights can you beat? I think that's a fair question. That's a very, very fair question.
In terms of branding or in terms of...
In terms of everything you do with the brand. Because like I said, the Royal AM deal, that's on club level.
Yes.
You have the national Ugandan team deal. That's on a national level. Like I said, you were in service. That is essentially completely separate from, sports.
Yeah.
So what else can you do?
Actually, our next deal, which is lined up now, is to have a country dressed in 619 at the Nations Cup.
Oh,
And then soon we will have in one of the top leagues a team that will be also playing in 619 attire.
sure. Well, Alfie, it looks like you can't stop, and we are definitely rooting behind you.
Yeah.
I think you're doing fantastic, not only for your brand, but for the country as well. I think it's proper motivation.
Yeah.
So do continue what you're doing, and thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Thank you, CJ.